So poker was in the background, but it was becoming more and more interesting. Again, it was all over TV. Tournaments were becoming bigger and bigger. There was more of them. All these different poker projects and poker tours, things were happening. And eventually I did discover, some books that would probably be laughed at today, but, some internet forums, found 2+2, found Daniel Negreanu's Full Contact Poker, hung out there a decent amount, mostly lurking, but occasionally posting a hand on there. And discovered that if you put more work into this poker thing, then you can do better and better for yourself, and you can climb the stakes ladder.
Hoy estaré conversando con Andrew Neeme, jugador de póker original de Michigan, quien luego de conocer el póker en internet decide mudarse a Las Vegas para comenzar su carrera en póker en vivo. Tiempo después, se convertiría en un jugador profesional y en pionero de los blogs de póker en YouTube. Hoy en día, con más de 120,000 seguidores en su canal de YouTube, ha conseguido ganar premios como Poker Vlogger of the Year, People Choice Award, premios otorgados por la Global Poker Index. Más allá de todo esto, Andrew se ha caracterizado por ser un gran comunicador, ganándose la empatía de su audiencia. Se ha convertido en un embajador del póker como juego de disfrute y diversión. Tiene su propia marca de ropa, un podcast y mucho más de lo que estaremos hablando en este episodio. Antes de comenzar este podcast, hay 3 recomendaciones que sé que te van a interesar. La primera, invitarte a mi club en la aplicación PP Poker. Tenemos acción 24 horas al día, 7 días a la semana. Torneos diarios y especiales los fines de semana. Todo con retiros y depósitos personalizados. No esperes más y pide tu acceso. Abajo te dejo un link con toda la descripción. La segunda es Audible, una aplicación de audiolibros que cambió mi vida. Si tú eres como yo, que prefiere escuchar que leer, te recomiendo descarga la aplicación en el link que te dejo abajo y recibirás los 2 primeros libros o audiolibros totalmente gratis. La tercera es que si tú eres de esos jugadores de póker que siempre está buscando llevar su póker a otro nivel, no busques más. La información está en PokerTopPro.com. Es la escuela de póker de los hermanos Bertoli. Aprende con los mejores. Una página web llena de buen contenido, llena de buenos videos para que lleves ese juego a otro nivel. PokerTopPro.com, la escuela de póker de los hermanos Bertoli. Ahora sí, comencemos con el podcast. Andrew Neeme. For me, it's a huge pleasure to have you here, bro. Welcome to the Regal Podcast.
Thanks so much. It's great to be here.
Well, finally we made it because I know Andrew is always busy and traveling. It's hard to be at the same place as he. And well, we are here in Vegas finally. Andrew, to start this episode, I want you to walk me through how Andrew met poker and when that happened, how that happened.
Okay, all the way back to the very beginning.
All the way back. We have time.
Hand number 1. Okay, well, let's see, how far back? I guess I first got introduced to poker probably around the year 2004. I had just finished a job in London, England. And I was doing an internship there that was like my final credits of college. I went to Michigan State University. And for the last semester of college worth of credits, I went to London to do an internship. I was working at a music promotion company. And then that company hired me after the internship was over. So I stayed there until my work visa expired. Okay. Loved it over there. Loved the job I had. Couldn't stay any longer. Had to come back to the States and stopped back home in Michigan for like a month or 2. This is my folks. Their house is just outside of Detroit. And so my little brother there as well. And he had discovered online poker and he was, screwing around, probably Play Money, I think, just, downloaded the software, one of, endless numbers of software available.
What year we're talking about?
This is, I think, in 2004.
Okay, 2004.
Yeah.
Are you originally from Detroit?
Yeah, the suburbs of Detroit. Okay. Grew up there. And so, I saw he was playing it. I said, oh, that looks pretty fun. I hopped on there. I played a few hands as well. I was like, yeah, this is pretty fun. This poker thing. And this is a time when obviously poker is seriously ramping up. It's all over television.
Okay.
Moneymaker boom has begun for about a year now. And just thought it was fun, but I was very far away from taking it seriously. So I, after a couple months of just hanging around home, figuring out which next step was for me, I was debating between New York City or Los Angeles for the music industry to continue that pursuit. I chose Los Angeles. My older brother was living out there already and possibly had one or two somewhat connections for me to pursue out there. So off I went to LA and continued the music industry pursuit for a good several years. Poker was always just kind of like, in the background somewhere. Discovered the actual real money side of the sites, not just the play money. So deposited here and there. My story is not one of those stories where it's like I deposited $50 and ran it up to endless money. No, I'm in the other camp where deposit, bust, etc.
What's kind of fun for you, like a hobby, or you tried to make money at that time?
Yeah, it was a hobby. It was a very recreational thing. Yeah. I didn't discover anything about studying for a while. I didn't buy any books or discover forums. But I was doing the music industry thing. But slowly but surely, I just kind of got a little bit jaded with the music, chasing that music industry dream. So like as that happened, we're talking about a span of 3 or 4 years in LA. So I bounced around to a couple different companies. Never really found one that I enjoyed quite as much as the company I was working for in London. So poker was in the background, but it was becoming more and more interesting. Again, it was all over TV. Tournaments were becoming bigger and bigger. There was more of them. All these different poker projects and poker tours, things were happening. And eventually I did discover, some books that would probably be laughed at today, but, some internet forums, found 2+2, found Daniel Negreanu's Full Contact Poker, hung out there a decent amount, mostly lurking, but occasionally posting a hand on there. And discovered that if you put more work into this poker thing, then you can do better and better for yourself, and you can climb the stakes ladder. And I started to improve a little bit here and there, and discovered I made my way to a poker site called Bugsy's Club, which was a very small site. It's not around anymore.
It was a poker room?
Yeah.
Online?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was attached to like some sort of like a poker online schools. That was the idea, the marketing behind it. And it was a very small site. I think PokerStars eventually bought the site. But it was, I found success there, and I started, in the micro stakes, and through lots of play, mainly just grinding. Again, not like, the most diligent student of all time, but just through lots of play and occasionally hanging out in poker forums, was able to grind it up through the stakes, playing online. And the company that I was at, the last job I had, eventually the work slowed down because, fast forward to 2008, 2009, the economy starts to become really poor here in the US. It starts to perform really poorly. And some projects that I was supposed to be working on when I joined that company ended up not happening. So there was less work, which means more time for poker, which means, things become more interesting in that endeavor. The more time you can put into it, the better you do, and et cetera, et cetera. And eventually the job became part-time, then freelance.
That was a perfect situation for a poker developer.
Yeah, it became part-time. It became freelance. I was working at home. I was actually just playing online poker the entire time for the most part.
I bet.
Occasionally, there was some work to do, but for the most part, online poker. And in like I think the end of 2008, the start of 2009, I was done with the job completely. I had grinded up a bankroll playing online, and over the course of living in LA for 4.5 years, I had taken probably somewhere in the neighborhood of like 20 trips to Las Vegas because I always loved it here. Yeah, okay. Loved coming to the city.
So you play live at that time too?
Yeah, I was playing live. that wasn't the purpose of the trip. It was, to come visit and hang out with friends.
Okay.
But always loved coming here and always disappointed to leave, And so, I was the cost of living, even though, again, the economy was not doing great at the time, LA has always been substantially more expensive than Las Vegas. Yeah. So looked at the rent prices out here compared to what I was paying out there, and I realized I could get a few more amenities for less money, and I could, play poker, play some low stakes poker out here. So made the move, and that was approximately 10 years ago from today, where Andrew, who thought he knew what he was doing, playing poker, playing on a very soft site called Bugsy's Club, made the move to become a professional poker player, a live player, hopped in. Because the site eventually, it disappeared. It slowed way down. I'm not sure what was going on there, but the traffic took a nosedive. Payments became really slow, but I was able to get all the money out of there. But just, made the move out here, and was always sort of, enamored with the city, and decided to make it a full-time thing out here.
And now when Andrew took that decision and said like, well, you know what? I'm not in the music industry anymore. I'm going to go to Vegas, 4 hours drive, but I'm going to change my life, and I'm going to go all in with this idea. What happened inside Andrew? Because I think nobody for example, when you go to college and you have a degree, and now, you go to that path where you're looking for a job, but that is kind of normal path, right?
Yeah.
But for a poker player, it's like, what happened with your friends or family saying like, man, what are you doing? Did you just get out of the college and now you want to be a professional poker player? And I bet 10 years ago, even today, but 10 years ago, even more, professional poker players was not a career, right? Like for so many people.
Yeah.
What happened in that side of Andrew?
Yeah, it's funny. I'll even take a moment here and there and be like, oh, I can't believe I actually like play cards for a living. I can't believe that I actually that's like a thing
today.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's like it's crazy to think about. I think I was pretty lucky that I had friends and family, specifically family, that were open-minded. I'm sure they had reservations about the whole thing, but
they respect your decision.
Yeah, they were, they would tell me they wanted me to do something that made me happy. And, I bounced around to a couple different jobs in the music industry that were not making me happy at all. It could be, obviously poker can be extremely stressful, but there was a couple jobs that I had along the way in the music industry that were very stressful as well. I had a very brief stint at the William Morris talent agency, which is one of these, super mega agencies that it's the complete opposite of the environment that I was in London. The job in London was a very small company, and it was very chill. This was the complete opposite. It was just like super intense. Probably literally had chest pains like driving into that place, just because it was the opposite of anything that I was kind of about, really. And
in LA, which is like it's the highest speed city. So.
It's the pinnacle. People want to. There's an endless line of people that want to try and get to that point. But you don't really find out what it's all about and what it's like until you're in the pit, in the fire pit there. So anyway. Yeah, I'm sure my parents had reservations about their son being a professional gambler and whether he's just like addicted to gambling or something like that. But I did have a little bit of success, with the online poker grind before moving to Las Vegas. So told them that much. I'm sure my friends were somewhat skeptical, to say the least, especially in their discussions and conversations that didn't include me. I'm sure there was some funny conversations, but again, I think your true best friends will support you and root you on and cheer you on, as long as you're not in a downward spiral of something. I think I lucked out. I'm sure there's a lot of people who have tougher conversations with their parents where it's not that easy of a conversation. And I lucked out a little bit in that regard.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of the points that everybody asks when they are trying to make their own path. Even maybe poker is one of the things sounds very crazy, maybe because it's people, used to see that like a professional gamblers, like you're saying, but even in different paths, like when you're not when you are not in that path, regular path, it's hard to make your own way, right? Like even with these kind of disciplines or sports. And now Andrew is in Vegas. 10 years ago, I started playing live poker. I bet ups and down came often. And how was your mindset? You came here alone by yourself. You live with other people that play poker. How was that growing here in Vegas?
Not good. Yeah.
No good.
Not good. No. I think I did okay. I don't have the records that far back, for my wins and losses, but I think I was doing okay. I was just playing, 1-2, 1-3, maybe an occasional 2-5 game. I think I was doing okay in those games. I think the games, even now are relatively soft at those stakes. And back then, I'm sure they were very soft. And I think I played a patient game, when I was actually playing poker. I think I did okay. I don't think I was anywhere remotely near, what a professional poker player should be doing, particularly like away from the table and putting in the number of hours that I should have been putting in. So, every mistake that you can come up with, from spending too much money and not, respecting your bankroll. I was pretty diligent about not taking shots at big games. Okay. In fact, I think I actually took too much time before trying to move up in stakes. But, in those early days, not putting in enough hours, spending too much money, not networking as much as I should have been, not, meeting other poker players and talking shop with them and talking hands and just talking about the poker life. Didn't do that. Vegas is, even if you come here alone, it's not going to be too long before, there's a weekend where your friends are coming to visit, from different parts of the country. So just kind of, relied on that. And I think I knew one person, maybe two people that I went to high school with here that were living in the city. And so I kind of, I connected with them. I grew my social circle through them, but they weren't poker players. So I didn't have a poker circle to learn with and grow with. So yeah, I made a lot of mistakes, and I don't think I was a very good professional poker player. I spun my wheels for a long time, just trying to grind those low stakes. Did not get anywhere fast. Let's put it that way.
How old were you when you came?
I was 29. So, it's interesting because people, there's people go through different stages of their life at different times, but I think a young man in his late 20s, first moving to Las Vegas, with like a little bit of money, is going to probably run into some troubles if he's not like of a certain mindset,
Yeah, it's definitely correct.
You're still a pretty young man at that age. And
actually, you are young and you have the mature to know how to make money, probably. So that is a bomb. Like it could be dangerous.
It can be for sure. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of poker players out there where it's not really going to be that much of an issue for their personalities in particular. They like to just grind. There's the online grinder, the nerdy type of poker wizard who just gets out there and crushes and doesn't really have a lot of distractions to worry about. And that's awesome. Like I wish I was that way right off the bat.
That wizard.
Yeah. But no, I was interested in like all the cocktail bars and discovering all the $15 drinks that I could possibly.
I can imagine your situation because you're coming from business or industry, which is the music, where it's really reliable in the networking that you can make around you. So for you, I can see that path, like
parties all over the place when you're working with music. I bet.
That's the best thing about the music industry. You don't make you don't make any money really for a decent while in the music industry, but you do get to go to all the free shows and probably get a bunch of free beers and all sorts of stuff like that. So yeah, I did not make the transition into putting your head down and grinding, especially when you're playing the low stakes and trying to, sustain or build a bankroll and pay your bills out of those winnings. You gotta keep your head down and grind, and that's not what I was doing at first.
Yeah. Now, Andrew Neeme already in Vegas and playing poker for a living now. One day came the idea to start a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
How that happened? That was, you have like a kind of inspiration. You saw another poker blogger or any other person making YouTube videos, and you said like, "Hey, I can do that."
Sure. Yeah. It's a big like fast forward in between what we were just talking about up to that point. So you're talking about jumping up to like 8 years later, something like that. Like that's a substantial time period, and there's lots of things that happened. I mean, no major life changes aside from I did meet my now fiance Boosie, and it was pretty instrumental in meeting her. She kind of like she was helpful in showing me like what real work looks like. So eventually I figured out. Eventually I figured out like what needs to happen, what real work looks like. Shooting for 150 hours, the more the better, of poker, and talking about hands nonstop with friends and all that stuff. So all that happened in between moving to Vegas. There was probably a good couple of years of struggle and not really doing anything, not getting anywhere, and frustrations, and eventually figuring it out, making friends, developing a group of people that was kind of in a similar situation, similar stakes, chatting about hands, sending text messages of hands literally 24 hours a day, people in different time zones, and you wake up to 100 text messages about hands and reading all those, going to play poker, sending hands while you're playing, all that stuff. So fast forward to 2016, October of 2016, or maybe a few months before that, I was watching Casey Neistat, who is a very popular mainstream YouTuber. He's before he started making daily vlogs on YouTube, he was a professional filmmaker, and so he had been doing that prior to his vlogs. And then he brought his sort of expertise to that medium, of creating a story every single day and showing like what his day is like and capturing it and presenting it in a manner that is really enjoyable, over like 10 minutes, 12-minute videos, something like that. So I think I was doing a little bit better for myself. I had made it up to 510 here in Vegas and was winning in 510 games. And 510 games, it starts to get a little bit tough here in Vegas. And if you don't for sure love playing poker and studying poker, it's going to be really tough for you. It's going to be tough to find the motivation to be successful, to study, to play all the hours you need to do in order to beat a lot of regulars, because you can start to make a pretty good living for yourself, I think, at the 510 level. So I don't know if poker, it's very like introspective, but I don't know if I've ever really legitimately loved poker. I loved like the idea of being able to grind your way up, make your own schedule, do better depending on how much you put into it. I love all those things.
All the things related with this action, this activity.
Do I love talking about balanced ranges and 3-betting ace king here and there in these spots and having appropriate number of bluffs and this and that? I don't know if that really speaks to me that much. So I saw what Casey Neistat was doing, and I just loved it. Legitimately loved it. And I was watching him every day. Just kind of like understood why he would like do certain shots, in his videos.
Like the filmmaking thing behind those content.
Yeah, thought it was so cool. And sometimes you get like goosebumps watching some of this stuff, and it's like just love it. And so I thought, well, that's pretty cool. I wonder if I can like do this in a sense, about my day, and I wonder if I can like take some of his inspiration and apply it to a day in the life of a grinder poker player in stakes that most people are playing. 1, 2, 2, 5, and 5, 10. Even 5, 10 is going to be a little bit expensive for a lot of people, but a lot of the poker media at the time focused on very high stakes games. Even the WSOP main event is a $10,000 buy-in. Most people are not going to get to play that. They're not going to get to play these super nosebleed stakes like on high stakes poker, shows like that. So I wondered if capturing the life of a poker grinder here in Las Vegas, have the Las Vegas backdrop, which provides for some great scenery as well, and use the platform of YouTube to tell that story, capture it and share it with people. In poker, you don't have a lot to show at the end of the day, especially as a cash game grinder, aside from, either more or less dollars in your pocket at the end of the day. But with a video, you have that video on YouTube. As long as YouTube exists, it'll be there. You can share that story. You can, your kids or your family, they can watch that video. They can see what you were up to at this point in your life. And just thought the whole thing was really cool. So just, felt a little bit inspired, also a little bit bored with poker, fired it up, grabbed the camera.
It's interesting because one of the things I can see in poker after a bunch of hours playing at a table is you feel, and I can see that in so many poker players who has like a couple of years or more experience, you feel like the necessity to move forward and give something that you can make with your hands or whatever. I can talk right now for example, friends who start teaching poker, but more if they're making money playing, for sure it's gonna be more money than teaching. But they feel like that necessity to give back to the society, let's say.
Maybe.
Yeah, it could be, for me, actually, make content for YouTube, a different platform, has been something like, wow, I really enjoy, because I don't feel that when I'm on the table just trying to get more money in my stack.
Yeah.
Right? And in your case, could be that moment when you say like, well, I can do this and it's going to be related with poker, but it's going to be something different.
Yeah. Yeah. For some people, you don't want to speak for everybody. Some people are more than content and literally love the pursuit. They love the game. They call it, it's a beautiful game. They actually enjoy.
They love the game.
They enjoy the strategy aspect. They're very competitive. I think I'm very competitive with myself. I want to push myself to do better and learn more things and grow in different ways. But I'm not like the most competitive person when it comes to like that person sitting across the table, like I'm going to get that person, like other people love that. They thrive on it and it's legitimately what they love. So yeah, I just think it's tough when you're doing something that you don't love and there's something else over here that looks interesting as a pursuit and speaks to you a little bit more. But yeah, I think everyone's different. Everyone's got their things that they love and their different pursuits that are really going to drive them.
When did you feel like your YouTube channel, because starting YouTube is no easy thing. Like you gotta be like a lot of things that you can use in poker, you can use in YouTube content. Like you gotta put hours in that work. You gotta put effort and creativity and study different kind of filmmaking and different things, buy equipment, blah blah blah. When do you feel like your channel took off? Are you so like, this is legit. This is gonna be real one day. One day people are gonna watch my videos.
It happened very quickly. It took off very fast. The poker world is an interesting sort of world, ecosystem, whatever. It's people share things pretty regularly in poker. So whether that's like strategy amongst friends, or it's gossip, or any type of content, people share things and it gets around pretty fast. So, there's a few like main hubs. There's a place like 2+2 where if something gets posted, a lot of people will see it. And, there's a few forums like that. Reddit. There's there's the Reddit poker subreddit. So that happened pretty quickly. After a couple of videos, it got posted up there, and you get some feedback from the in the comments or whatever. People have watched it, and someone says, really cool vlog, make more, or something like that.
Okay.
It's like, that's the fuel that you need.
Yeah, definitely.
And you're right that it takes a ton of time. I've had many mornings at like 10 in the morning where I'm just wrapping up the editing on a video from yesterday,
Oh, wow.
of like nonstop
The whole night.
Yeah, I've kind of like, for some reason, I don't know why, but I've always been one to just power through and edit rather than, break it up into like multiple days. I just want to sit down and like,
You get in the rhythm and you go to the end.
yeah, exactly. I just want to do the whole thing and not come back to it. And then getting to that point where you hit the upload button is the best.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I've had many mornings where it's like that. And I think it's pretty indicative, going back to that previous conversation. This is like what I was willing to do for the stuff that I was making, the YouTube videos, where I was, all in on the doing whatever, whether it's chatting with friends about, how do you do this? Like, how do you make a split screen? Go to YouTube. How do you make a split screen? What camera settings are you using for that slow motion thing? And just doing that, and putting in all the hours in order to get the video up when you want it to be up, and then sleeping, and then doing it all over and getting right back out there and filming again, and doing that over and over. Did I have that same drive in order to get ahead in poker? Sometimes yes, but definitely sometimes no.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it just spoke to me a little bit more, and that's what ended up happening. And as far as like, if there was a particular moment, I don't know, but it was very fast, and I think it sort of speaks to, that it was something that was sort of missing at the time, this live poker capture, and walking through the day in a life of a poker player here in Las Vegas, and breaking down hands. There's a lot of poker players out there that play these smaller stakes games that, that they might send a hand to a friend, and that friend will say, you got unlucky.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not going to
break. What it is.
Yeah, they're not going to break down. Well, could have maybe gone with a different sizing pre-flop. I'm not sure you needed to play that hand. But since you did on the turn, maybe you could have done this instead of doing that. It's like a lot of people, they don't have a professional to break down a hand with. And correct. I think people found that interesting, at the stakes that they're playing. Yeah,
definitely. I bet I can see so many people. So actually, when you start putting content out there, I could see so many people just talking as you used to talk, like, even because so many players, poker is easy. You go to the casino, put the money on the table, and you play. You don't need much.
Yeah.
But so many players, even if they're winning, they don't know how to win.
Yeah.
But when you start putting content on YouTube, I can feel people start talking about the hand differently, because you explain differently. Like, how to talk about the hand and certain terms and words that you use.
Yeah.
And we're gonna talk about favorable quick soon. People start using it. I remember the first friend, when I sent a hand and he said that flop was favorable. I said, like, fuck, man, you're watching too much YouTube. Yeah. But that happened, definitely happened. And now remembering some friends when they actually wasn't so far behind. Well, one day I'm walking to play at the wing, and you were playing there, and one of my friends told me, like, man, I can't understand this guy. I bet Andrew has more hours in his day than I have in my day. Because that guy I just watching his last video. He has a fiancé, and he's a poker player.
Yeah.
And I barely can make it with just poker.
Right.
He said that, and that brought to me, like, man, it's true. It's hard to keep up in those two things because they are really demanding. How you
Yeah.
control your time and your effort, and how many hours do you sleep usually when you are grinding poker and grinding YouTube?
Yeah. You know what? I think especially when you are first starting a project, then you're going to need to sacrifice some other things.
Definitely.
If you want like a YouTube channel to do well, you're going to have to find some consistency with the uploads and, you know, crank it out and probably not be watching the basketball game, drinking beer at the bar, as sad as it is. I don't have very many nights of going out with friends these days, even though it used to be literally my favorite thing. It probably still is my favorite thing, but it's just not productive. You know, you can't find success doing these sorts of things. You know, poker, very competitive. YouTube, you're trying to maintain people's attention, very competitive. So it's especially when I was starting, it was extremely exhausting. You know, editing the video is intense focus. Poker is intense focus. And then, trying to maintain that consistency was very tough. And it still is. You know, there's still, it's still a ton of work. You know, trying to play reasonable stakes to make a living and put out the videos of a certain quality. And now there's like, you know, a lot of travel that's happening with different things. Travel can be exhausting. So you just sort of, you decide what you want to see happen. And that sort of comes back again. It goes back to when I first moved to Vegas. Those two endeavors, you know, when I talked about friends at the bar and things versus grinding the hours at the poker table, it was flipped, right? I prioritized exploring Las Vegas and going out with friends and didn't prioritize poker. And the results spoke for themselves. I didn't make any progress really for
Las Vegas a lot, but no money. But
yeah,
you
exactly.
Didn't make any progress.
Yeah. You're having, you know, decent nights out with friends and it's pretty fun. But then, you know, you have a hangover the next day and there's even less money in your pocket, even though you had a losing session. You should probably get back to work, but no, you went out to the bar and stuff. So it's priorities, you know, it's what do you want to have happen? And it also depends on like the person. Maybe someone is content grinding 2-5, and that's perfectly fine. If they're happy, if they're living a happy life at that level, and they're not super stressed out, then that's perfectly fine. You know, it just depends on the person. So I try to push myself in a few different ways professionally.
And talking about that, pushing yourself. I think a couple of years ago, you got an award, like the YouTuber of the Year. Because I don't remember exactly the name of the award, but
the Global Poker Index Vlogger of the Year. Yeah.
How does feel? Because it's I think the YouTube thing for Andrew Neeme has been a consequence of being a YouTube player, a poker player, right? So, and now in poker, something happened when you play cash games. Like, nobody care about you. Like, you know, you're never gonna have a award like the best cash game player of the Bellagio or something like that. Never gonna happen. Never. Even nobody knows.
That's kind of a cool idea. That would be cool.
Yeah, right. But it's hard to, you know, to put it in number and why is he the best player or not? So it's gonna be tough. Different than tournaments, because you win a tournament, you're the worst player in the field, but you won. That's it.
Yep.
You're the winner. But in YouTube now, Andrew Neeme has this award. What was in your mind when I'm the YouTuber of the year in poker?
Yeah, I mean, there's not to like, you know, blow up my own stuff, but it's like there was also the poker personality of the year that year as well. So it was it was two awards. Let's get this straight.
Oh, just what are 2 awards?
2 awards that first year. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I mean that one, you know, it's funny about it's interesting, those 2 awards. Like the one is the best vlogger of the year, whatever. So it's all, I think that's like a very subjective sort of a thing. You know, it's like, how do you say what's the best art piece? You know. Who knows what criteria you're going to use. That poker personality one, you know, it's like something that the audience was voting on. So that was,
that's awesome.
You know, that's really cool. It was crazy. And, you know, cause there was, like Doug Polk was in there. He's a massive personality. Jonathan Little was up for that one, and I can't remember who the last one was, but it's to get that award. It's funny. On one hand, you don't want these things to go to your head. You're still because there's no monetary value attached to that directly. You don't win $100,000 or $1 million, like you do at the poker tournament. So you're still gonna just have to get back out there and get back to work. Nothing really officially changes. But on the other hand, it's cool to, like you said, cash game players, they fly under the radar. And when you're playing tournaments, it's cool because you get various trophies. You can put them all lined up on the mantle and be like, this is what I have to show for all that grinding. Cash game players, they just have their bankroll. So it's cool. It's like a little physical representation of all those hours of grinding of behind the editing software. That's what it amounted to. And yeah, it's definitely cool. But I take a lot of inspiration, and I listen to, do you know Gary Vaynerchuk? Yeah, I listen to him pretty frequently, probably more than any content creator out there in the world. And he talks about how you don't want the like the haters to dictate like how you feel and what you do as a creator, because you're always going to have them. They're always going to be there. Yeah, and so, like, no matter who you are. There's going to be people who lob stuff at you, and if you don't want to let those people bother you, you also don't want to feel too high when you get like an accolade or something, because you kind of just want to do your thing regardless of what people say about it. As long as like you're enjoying that path and the things that you're doing, and you're growing in the ways that you want to grow, then you can't get too low based on what people say, and you can't get too high based on what people say. Because if you get too high on what it says, then you're going to be thinking about what the people who have some shit to say about you. Correct.
Yeah, they're dictating your path pretty much.
Yeah, you got to try and keep a level mindset about everything.
Nice. I remember going forward in your career. I remember when you start. Actually, I have a memory in my mind right now. You upload a video. You talk about the hands, and somebody in the comments just leave a message saying like, "Hey, dude, you should print some t-shirts with the word favorable. I would buy one." Yeah. And you said, "Oh, that sounds good." That was an idea already, or how the idea of clothing brand came to this situation? Because if you think about it outside your box, it's like, man, this guy is all around. Like, he's doing everything, and now is creating a clothing brand with the name, with the word that he used, favorable.
Yeah, the catchphrase. Yeah, it was cool. Like, I don't know, there was no overall game plan, neither like with that word or with the brand. Okay. It's just the word fit like in poker like so easily. I just had to, I used it and it was fun to use, and once I used it like a couple times, then I used it a couple more times, and all of a sudden, like before too long, it was sort of like the catchphrase. And it's always so much easier to start a brand or sell a product when someone's already asking for it before you've even made it. Yeah, definitely, of course. It's so much easier as far as, because I am definitely not a salesperson. Okay. I suck at that. If we're talking shop, talking business about something, I hate like negotiating. I hate like trying to pitch. I hate like making a sale. I feel like I'm okay. I'm pretty good at marketing and things like that, and creating. Telling a story, but when it comes down to like the pitch, I suck at it. I hate it. So yeah, when people were asking for, we need some t-shirts with favorable on it. Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah, we can do that. And when I say we, again, time to bring up Boosie again, because she's the mastermind behind all the design, all the sourcing, all of the fulfillments, all the customer service. Having her as a partner has been super clutch, and she's awesome at all of it. She's got an amazing eye for design, and I think she's pretty fashionable. I think she's pretty cute, and she's got a great eye for all of these things. She designs a website. She's multi-talented individual. And so a lot of props to her, and having her help out with all those things is huge.
Okay, I remember now, like when you released that video saying like, "Hey, I have a surprise for you guys," and you went to the desert late night and opened. But I remember a detail the day after. I think you post, I don't know where, you post like, "Oh, sorry, we just run out of merchandising." That was 24 hours maybe.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it was surprising for you, I bet. Like, man, this is going out.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, it was like, I don't know, a couple hundred or a few hundred t-shirts or something like that.
A few hundred t-shirts.
Yeah,
hours.
It was nuts. It was awesome. I think the demand was built up a little bit. People had been requesting the shirts for a little while, probably a couple of months, and then we had to, Boosie had to go out and source it and get it printed, and probably a couple of revisions here and there, and finally we were ready. And then to present it and have it so well received it's awesome. It's my favorite thing when I see someone wearing something, one of the favorable apparel items. It's so cool, to just randomly see someone wearing it. It's I always have to go up to them and say hi, shake their hand.
Really?
That's
like, cool.
Thanks for your support. It's so cool. Yeah, love. There's nothing more fun than seeing somebody wearing your stuff.
Now, moving a little bit forward in your career, we have right nowadays we can see Andrew Neeme with another really interesting idea, the meetup games.
Yeah.
I've been here for 5 years. I don't know any other meetup games that came before Andrew Neeme meetup game. So the first meetup game that I heard was your meetup games. Now we have some, but how that idea came to your mind, or what happened behind that you say like, well, I have a community. I can't do this because I want to make a insert here. I remember you get in trouble many times because you were recording on the table.
Yep.
And nowadays, looks like those people complaining about you recording, they're calling you to record on the table.
Right.
And how you made that change? Let me tell you, that was a big change in the poker community, at least here in United States.
Yeah.
Because now when you come to a poker room with a camera, well, maybe they're gonna stop you and say you can't record. But before you and your meetup games, they call the police, like, hey man, you can't was like, man, you're you're doing something really wrong, like you're gonna go to the jail. What happened there? How that happened?
Yeah, the casino industry is very slow to adopt their in their adoption of new social media and things like that. It's a lot of different rooms, casinos. It's very old school. It's supposed to be this hidden endeavor, this gambling. People, we can't have that actually shown. We have to protect people.
Security and everything.
Yeah, it's it's. I had seen, I was aware there was maybe not so much here in Vegas, but there was at least one person who was like played this role of a host for a poker game. It was John Robert, JRB.
Okay.
He's not anymore, but for a little while he was, or for a decent while he was the host in what was called the Ivy Room at Aria. So he would, use his Rolodex of friends, and he would host a game at the Aria. Before him, I was aware of a guy named Lyman, who you might know. He's always been Los Angeles based, and he started a game. He started running a PLO game at the Commerce most recently.
Okay,
and it still goes. He brought the 510 PLO game over to the Commerce. So I was aware that there was like this idea of a host who would, utilize his friends or his contacts or people who like to play poker, whatever, to try and run a game and get it up and running, promote it, and benefit from it in some fashion. But this is it's something a little bit different, I guess. Like it's similar to that, but I thought maybe we could use the YouTube channel to
like platform
to put a game together. and use it to help promote the game, and not just that, but to actually use the game and have the people who are in the game participate in the creation of content.
Cool.
So everybody that was in the game was going to be aware that there was vlogging. That's how they found out about the game in the first place. They found out about it from watching the videos and from me talking about it on my social media channels. So a lot of the games here in Vegas, especially, they can be pretty grindy. They can be kind of quiet.
Yeah,
people wearing headphones like this while they're playing poker or have an iPad out, things like that. Yeah. And I think, especially 2 blind, no limit hold'em, 9 or 10 handed, it can be a grind. Yeah. And I thought we could use a game that's a little bit more fun, a little bit more social. It's, often in the videos, I'm out there on the grind too. It's what I've been doing. I'm trying to get out there and grind it out. But that's not the only way to enjoy poker. There's this other way that the vast majority of people enjoy it, which is as a fun recreational pursuit. So why not have a game where people can come together? It's a social sort of fun night. We're going to probably have some beers. There's probably going to be some straddles and bomb pots and things like that. And you guys can maybe make the vlog, you can be a part of it. We will maybe go to the bar after the game is over and we'll hang out for an hour or 2 or something like that and just chill and chat about poker or whatever you want to talk about the YouTube channel. People will meet each other, they'll get to know each other, fellow poker players, something that I didn't really have when I first moved to Vegas. So it's like, it's multi-beneficial, and then obviously the casino benefits if there's extra games being put together. So whenever you have something that's like beneficial to every party involved, it's usually going to be a pretty big success. So we've heard, people say things like, this is the most fun I've had playing poker in a very long time, which is super encouraging. If we go to a town where we put a bunch of, 5-5 games together and they haven't had this many 5-5 games in their poker room in a long time, and the people know that they're going to be able to hop in all these different 5-5 games if they want to, that's really cool. I get to hang out with myself and Brad Owen, who's my fellow content creator and co-host at these games, and chat with him or me about poker and YouTube and all that stuff. That's pretty fun for them, so we've heard. And the casino benefits, and we benefit from putting the games together and making some content, and casino cover travel and helps us get around and all that stuff. So it's cool. Anytime, like I said, you can put together something where every single party benefits from it, then that's usually a recipe for success.
What is the biggest meetup game for those who don't know what is a meetup game? Because I don't remember if in Spanish we have that kind of name for games, but it's basically when Andrew or somebody said like, well, I'm gonna be at this poker room this day playing some poker. Let's have fun, right? Yeah,
I mean, it's it also pulls a little bit from other general content creators where they'll say, we're having a meetup. Come say hello. We'll hang out for an hour somewhere at a designated location. So it's a meetup. This is just that, but we're playing poker.
Yeah, that's the difference between this meetup and other meetups.
Same thing.
Actually, it's common in the YouTube community. A lot of YouTubers just making meetup to do the same, pretty much having fun and share a little bit time with the audience, which is really cool.
Yeah.
What is the biggest meetup game till now?
So we got 22 tables of people together over at Maryland Live Casino.
22 tables.
Yeah, we were playing 3-5, and like the night before there was like 280 people on the interest list, and at its peak 22 tables that were there specifically for this meetup game, which is just nuts. Because the night before there was maybe 2 or 3 games that were going, and so
I bet the casino was happy, or the poker
they were very happy. Yeah, once again, everyone seems to win. Everyone's very happy about that, which is just crazy. Like, going back to the initial thoughts about putting a game together and using the channel to get the word out and promote it a little bit. Sure, I thought maybe we could run a game, maybe a regular game here in Vegas that was a little bit fun, a little bit different. Maybe have it either weekly or bi-weekly or something like that. But if you told me we would be going like to the other side of the country and there's 22 tables worth of
right?
22 tables of folks looking to get together and have a fun night of poker and some social time. Yeah, wouldn't have believed it.
I think I always thinking, and I was talking about this with another YouTuber in this podcast with Pansy, a YouTuber in Spanish.
Yeah.
It's hard to understand for us, even so in your case, it's even bigger, way bigger. You have more than 200,000 followers in YouTube.
YouTube is, nope, it's only 125.
125,000 followers.
Yes.
Okay, not 200,000.
Nope, can't get too far ahead of ourselves.
Well, but can you imagine 125,000 people just watching your content? It's overwhelming.
It can be.
Right? Like, it's hard to understand. And those things like 22 tables in a casino where they usually have or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, even 10 tables, and now they have 2x, 3, 4, 5x the amount of table that they usually host. It's like, wow, I bet in your mind sometimes happen like, is this real? So I'm the reason why this is happening. That's unbelievable, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, I mean, it speaks to the power of basic form, the internet.
Yeah,
it speaks to the power of the internet, really.
Correct.
And then utilizing that as a platform for building your brand and getting your idea out there and having it find some legs. And it's amazing. I try not to sit there and ponder it for too long because it can be a little bit of it messes with your mind a little bit. And plus try and keep pretty busy so there's not too much downtime to sit around and think about these things. But again, I think it's it always is. It's more of like a reflection of an idea that other people agree with. So an idea is. The poker games, the Texas Hold'em games, sometimes it can be a little slow. And also, we don't have to just play poker as a grind. It can be a get-together, fun, social night around a poker table. And that's the way a lot of people do, like the kitchen table poker games, playing with grandma, things like that, stories like that. So there's so many stories that you hear. And it's a nod to, professional poker players. We're going to have to remember and entertain the idea that poker for most people is recreational. In order for a professional poker player to exist as a profession,
you need those.
Yeah, we need poker to always, sort of be a social game where it's not always so serious. So the meetup games, it's a nod to that other side of poker as an approach, and that's the idea behind it. And it's cool to see other people embrace the idea.
What is next for Andrew Neeme? Like, well, so many things going on right now. They are, in different levels, but they are successfully working right now. And what is next in your mind? You have that project in your mind that keep you awake, or you just going with that you have you have now? It's a really
good question. I don't know if I have an answer for you off the top of my head. There's so much travel that's going on right now with these meetup games. People in different parts of the country and all corners of the country, are interested in having a meetup game and getting together. Nice. So we're definitely running with that one for now. I do want to push myself. I don't want to just play 2-5 games here in Vegas. I want to keep playing higher. I want to play bigger stakes. I want to spend more time in California, where it seems like there's bigger games and more people and more money and all that stuff. I want to get after it and push myself. But is it always going to be the grind and things like that? Tough to say. There's ideas that float around about, maybe taking the channel in different directions. Is it always going to be me talking about hands that I play at the Bellagio? I don't know. I mean, it is for now, but always will be. I kind of doubt it. Which direction we actually take it, I don't know. It's just kind of going with the flow a little bit at the moment. But I feel like the content creation thing and utilizing these different platforms, it definitely worked, and I could see continuing to, utilize these platforms to tell different stories, whether it's about poker or about a new business endeavor or other people's businesses, and keeping it going in that direction, in that sort of direction.
Nice. Now, after you start playing poker, what year?
The first time I ever saw a poker hand? I saw the play money thing in 2004, and then, moved to Vegas to actually try and play poker, and, at the beginning of 2009.
So it has been like 15 years since you met the game, pretty much. If you, turn back for a little while and say like, wow, all these things are going on because I start, which is great of starting to do something, even when you don't know what is gonna happen next day. But nowadays, you are growing up. You have been growing up consistently, and this is kind of really personal question. What make Andrew happy? Like, wow, my happiness is here nowadays.
Good question. Pushing that upload button is still really fun.
Pushing upload button.
The upload button. Yeah, that's still really fun. Getting together with people and doing something that is collaborative.
Okay.
Is really fun for me. Again, like I mentioned before, how I don't think I'm the most competitive person, versus other people. Doing things that are collaborative and bouncing ideas, whether it's, talking about the merch with Boosie or talking about the meetup games with Brad Owen, or, talking with different casinos about the meetup games and things like that. And, just talking about these different ideas and hashing them out, and then putting it into action. That's really fun for me. I really dig that. I don't think you start a YouTube channel because you love, sitting there by yourself and grinding. No,
definitely not.
So I think it's pretty indicative, when someone starts a project like that, and it's hard for the audience to initially grasp that concept, because when they're watching the video, they don't see all the hours that it took to put it together, and how much work goes into that and how much time that takes away from poker. They just see the actual poker and they see you talking about poker. So they assume that, poker is this guy's thing, rather than this guy sitting at the desk behind his
maybe more hours than playing.
It could be. So I don't think someone starts a project like this if they're entirely happy, on that solo grind kind of a thing. So I like working with other people. That's I think that's really fun, talking about different ideas and getting excited about a different, like a new idea for a project. That sort of thing gets me pretty excited.
Nice. For example, when you decided to go all in with poker, you really don't have any idea what is going to happen. You just have like a passion behind, like, I want to do this. I really, for example, in my case, was like, I don't really understand why, but I really do know, like, I really want to try. Nowadays, what is driving you? What is that extra motivation coming from to make more content, more meetup games, to travel more? What is behind?
Well, I'm not getting any younger, that's for sure, buddy. So we can't be sitting around drinking cocktails all on a Wednesday afternoon. You got to get out there. I mean, it's, once you do something and you get feedback from somebody, and it's whether it inspires somebody, you get different DMs. People say, this really helped me in some fashion. Please keep it up. Please keep going. Please keep making more of them. This is awesome. I love this, whatever. Yeah. And again, you don't want to get too high on your horse, but it's the fuel that pushes you to keep doing it. You're not just sending these out into the abyss and there's no feedback or no comments and nobody's watching it. So, it's cool. You don't want to get too tied up into in numbers. You want to make the video that you think people would want to watch and that you yourself might want to watch. But if you see, tens of thousands of views on a video, it's like, okay, people are still out there consuming it. It's interesting to somebody out there. And so that motivates me. But again, like I said, I think I'm competitive with myself. I think I have a desire to achieve different things, even if it's like nothing specific. I do want to. I think my least favorite feeling is that feeling of like stagnation, where it's just sitting and not really making progress. So as long as I'm growing in different fashions, then that's what I want to continue to do. And I sort of still feel that push to keep growing and keep trying different things and all that stuff. Keep going.
A lot of things. I bet a lot of things happen to you the last 15 years related with poker in all the, poker, Andrew, like a poker player or YouTuber or a human being or whatever. If you have the opportunity to have you 20 years younger in front of you, you have Andrew Neeme 20 years younger in front of you, what would it be that thing that you can say in 30 seconds to that young guy?
Work harder. Yeah, just work harder. Yeah. It's okay. I don't know about 30 seconds. It's okay to, your 20s, you're supposed to be, you shouldn't expect too much from yourself in your true. 20s. You should be like trying different things. Like it's fine that like the music industry thing didn't work out, Yeah. It's not a problem. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to like, try different things and experiment with different ideas. And if it doesn't work out, that's fine.
You have time.
Yeah, you have so much time. Yeah. I mean, I still feel super young. I'm almost 40, but I definitely don't feel that number,
Me neither. And I have just like 20 days more. So.
Okay, we're pretty close. I got a few months, but yeah. So I mean, it's okay. It's fine. But like if you think about, I would tell myself to think about what it is that you want, because I think I still wanted to be successful in the pursuits that I was getting after. I just didn't really have I don't think the right guidance or the right sort of understanding of what it was going to take to find those things. I still had that same drive to grow that I have right now. But I was just not really going about it the right way. I was, I had this idea of, I don't believe in this balance thing anymore. For a long time, it was balance where, you need to have, your social life, and then you need to have your work life. And if you need to make sure you're taking time out. And, I think now you want to find the thing that you like to do, and then that will make sure that you're motivated enough to keep after it. So if you're enjoying what you're doing, then you don't need so much balance, I don't think.
Yeah, that's definitely, I agree with that. And well, Andrew, I think we gotta land this airplane.
Nice, I like that phrase. That's cool. I'm gonna use that.
And I have a couple of more questions.
Okay.
If you could invite someone to this podcast, who would it be?
If I can invite someone?
Yeah. That's helped me a lot to invite more people.
Okay. There's a girl who plays poker. She lives in Vancouver, but she spends a lot of time here in Vegas as well. Her name is Kim Lim.
Kim Lim.
Yeah.
Okay.
I tried to get her on the vlog.
Okay.
And I thought we were going to do something, but then she's like, nah, I'm just going to grind. I'm just going to play poker. And your vlog kind of scares me. Okay. I think maybe if you could introduce her via the podcast, then maybe I can get her in the vlog. If we introduce her to content creation that way, we'll start with the audio, and then, but if you want me to send you her Instagram profile, I will do that.
Yeah, sure. We can work on that.
She's got, it's interesting because like she, was kind of running in the same circles as me and a couple other friends. When, I was playing the low stakes, she was maybe playing up to like 2-5, know, and now she's firing away at like 25, 50, 100, the 100 nice. Big blind ante and all these things and massive swings. But she's the only person out of that circle of friends to make it like that.
Wow.
Yeah. Right. So she has some endless stories, both, personal and professional, that I'm sure would be very interesting.
Man, sure. We got to work on that.
All right.
I have these questions is basically to close the podcast, but to know more about you. They are like, what do you prefer? This or this?
Okay,
all right?
Let's do it.
Do you rather write or read?
Write or read?
Mm-hmm.
Write, for sure.
Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook?
Instagram times 100.
Movies or series?
Movies, definitely movies.
Sweet or salty?
Sweet. Yeah, all the candy. Send it all my way.
Poker or YouTube?
Poker or YouTube? YouTube.
YouTube.
Yep.
Meat or vegan?
I would like to trend towards more vegan, but it hasn't happened yet. And never. I'm never giving up sushi. So,
coffee or tea?
For a long time I had neither. Nowadays, I guess coffee.
I think I know the answer of this one. Beer or whiskey?
Probably beer. Yeah, definitely beer, but no downvotes for whiskey.
Beach or mountain?
Tough call. I think very tough call. I'll say mountain, but very tough call. I like snowboarding. Switzerland is the most beautiful place on earth, I think. But beach
mountain is the way to go.
Beach is pretty solid too.
Beach is pretty.
I love California.
Andrew, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure, buddy. It was fun.
It was really fun.
You had some awesome questions, and all these details that you like the thing about the favorable apparel and selling out super quickly the next day, like details like that. You're a great interviewer, and it was fun taking the trip down memory lane in a couple of those instances.
Thank you, man. It has been easy for me because I'm following you, I think, since the beginning. So it has been an easy questions for me.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
I really put the value on your content, and I saw how you took off from the beginning.
I appreciate it a lot.
Well, for you guys, thank you so much if you were with us until here. Please be sure to follow your dreams. I always trying to encourage people to follow dreams, even nowadays when they look so easy or so hard.
For sure. Yeah. Get out there and just try things,
Correct.
Get out there and try it.
Yeah,
the hardest part is starting. And then once you do that first thing, the second one, you make some tweaks, you do it again, post it, do something else, whether it's, social media thing or something else. I had a podcast, by the way.
Oh, you have a podcast? We didn't talk about it.
Yeah, but I had one before the one I have now.
Really?
Blog. Yeah. I had one called Vegas Grinders. And it was with me and a couple of my buddies who were not professional poker players, but they did live in Las Vegas, or they still do.
Okay. What happened with that project?
We made like 20 episodes, and it
20 episodes is pretty decent now.
Yeah, it was substantial. There was probably, I don't know what the numbers were. It was less than 1,000 for sure.
Okay.
But there was some fanatics. But each of us, this was again in my earlier days of Las Vegas, and maybe like basically playing 2-5 at the highest, if that, and trying to make it and do different things, and it was too much, so I needed to bear down and focus on the poker. Those guys focused on other things, but we tried it, and it didn't hurt anything by trying it. So,
exactly.
So just get out there and try it, and tweak it, you make some adjustments, and off you go.
Actually, one of taking your word right now, one of the things is good when you try is you get a lot of answers, because before you start, you have a lot of questions, but you never gonna find the answer if you don't try.
Yeah, you're not gonna figure everything out just by sitting around and pondering the results and the answers, like you said. You achieve by doing and tweaking.
That's correct. Well, guys, this was the podcast with Andrew Neeme. Such a huge pleasure for me having you here for this time. Well, just subscribe to this channel. Remember, you can hear this podcast in audio version in any platform as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Anchor. Whatever you can find it, please check it out. Or in this channel, subscribe to this channel. Click that notification button, and you're gonna have a notification next episode. Try to be as happy as you can and try to be present in every second of your day. Thank you so much to be there.